Let's take a look at Quazii's video. Why I stopped posting FFXIV videos. But what about this channel, Quazii FFXIV? Are there still going to be videos on it? Because I love Quazii's content. My favorite videos that Quazii has made for FF14 in the past have been the ones where he speculates about what kind of new jobs we'll get. I love those. Like, his speculation videos are so crazy because he really researches it and he comes up with creative, crazy ideas. Love that.
So I've stopped making 14 videos like I used to because I just couldn't anymore, and over the last 6 months I've only managed to put out 3 Final Fantasy XIV videos. Compare that to the last 6 months of 2022 where I made 92 videos, but believe me, this is not your typical I quit Final Fantasy XIV video that you come across. It's more a story.
Okay.
Stopped making 14 videos like I used to because I just couldn't anymore, and over the last 6 months I've only managed to put out 3 Final Fantasy XIV videos. Compare that to the last 6 months of 2022 where I made 92 videos, but believe me, this is not your typical I quit Final Fantasy XIV video that you come across.
So he made 3 videos in comparison to another period of time when he made 92. I mean, I also struggled a lot this year with making more videos about F14, but I've just felt like it was a combination of me not really loving the Endwalker patches that much and having IRL stuff I was working through. Oh my god, Benjamin William, thank you for the 3-month resub. That's such a kind message. That's so sweet. Thank you for that.
It's more a story I never told anyone in person in the community except maybe once with Arthur's over dinner. But yeah, today I'll explain why I've been missing from the scene. And you might want to stick until the end of the video. There's something I'd like to announce that I don't think any of you saw coming. So before my story begins, it's important you understand a few things about me and my connection with 14. My approach to creating content for 14 was always deeply personal. It's rooted in an emotional connection that manifested itself in 3 ways. First, there's the profound attachment to the game's narratives and the characters. And second, I had a deep respect and admiration for Yoshi P and his team, whose tireless efforts to remake the game in 2.0 is reflective of my life motto of never giving up. And lastly, and more importantly, was the bond that I shared with my community. You, the fellow warriors of light who have been by my side ever since I started as a sprout in Shadowbringers.
So it's the bond with the community, the sense of respect and admiration for the dev team, and feeling really immersed in the lore and connected to the characters. This is the 3 things that I think most of us who have gotten obsessed with FF14 can say that we can relate to. And that's definitely been true for me. Like, the game pulled me in with its story when I started in Heavensward and just never really let go. I'm still like, even in Endwalker, when I you know, wasn't that engaged with the story in the post-patch cycle, I still always look forward to patch day, and a new story is like Christmas Day every time. And like Quazii, I don't know where I would be today if it weren't for the community. Like, the FF14 community has been there with me through good times and bad, and like there's even it's like over a period of time you spend so much time in the game that there's places in the game that you associate with certain times of your life. Like, I remember when I first started, I had this little tiny house in the Goblet, and now when I go to the Goblet, I remember that, and I remember like what my life was like back then, or you know, hearing from my friends in EU, like, it reminds me of the time that we spent together doing Savage Raiding, when I first got into Savage Raiding, and like that whole era. And so it's just me go in Charlian. Like, if I go into Charlian and I go by the cafe, of course that has lots of really strong memories for me too. All the time that we would just sit and hang out.
And says Zep Goblin in the Goblet.
Zep Goblin in the Goblet. The game has been part of me for almost, oh my god, almost 10 years. And so I get it. I get it. I'll stop rambling. Just listen to it.
From the very beginning, as I navigated Eorzea as a sprout, my content always centered around expressing how I felt about the game. It was never about guides or how-to videos. Instead, I aimed to share the emotional roller coaster that this game took me on. The way I feel about the game is the real keyword here, the magic sauce of my 14 content on this channel, if you will, and it's evident when you scroll through this channel. This content approach is very different from my World of Warcraft channel, where I focus on guided content because there, my ability to detach my feelings from my work allowed me to create informative guides regardless of how I feel. But my connection to 14 was very different. If the creation of 14 content was guided by my emotional compass, what would happen if that compass were to break? And for me, making 14 videos wasn't just a hobby, it was a way to connect with Eorzea, it's to share my love and passion for the game. And in 2023,
Man, he's so real for this. It's only been 2 minutes in the video so far, but like talking about the fact that having this emotional bond to the game be the thing that drives your content, and then saying, you know, what happens whenever that emotional bond gets weakened. And for me, that has definitely been something that I struggled with throughout Endwalker, because I mean, so much happened in my life that was very difficult for me to deal with psychologically, and then I wasn't that happy with Endwalker, so I just felt like I didn't have this thing to fall back on exactly anymore. And I wonder if that's part of the reason why it became so difficult for me to make content for a long time, was because oh my gosh, Miss Avantasia, thank you for the raid. Hey, we are here watching Quazie's video, why I stopped posting FFXIV videos, and he's talking about the emotional connection that he has to FF14, and how in contrast to his World of Warcraft content, where he is better able to separate work from the game, with FFXIV videos, and I can say this is true for myself as well, all the content has been driven and motivated by this emotional bond and this feeling, like feeling in love with this game. And it's never been easy for me. I think it's never even been possible for me to separate work from play when it comes to FFXIV. Like I cannot do that. So I relate pretty hard to what he's saying so far.
It's the most significant personal challenge of my life. I ended a 15-year-long relationship. All I want you to know is that we both recognized that parting ways was the right.
Hey, Zepla,
oh my God.
It's been a while. Hope you've been dealing with a lot of family stuff. Zepla,
Prince,
Q love.
Thanks for the year of support. I appreciate that. And Daggy, thanks for gifting a sub.
Right decision for both of us, and it was
So
done.
he ended a 15-year relationship at the same time. So wow, like he also went through some heavy shit at the same time as Endwalker.
In a very friendly fashion. It's also crucial for you to know that I'm in a way better place now. But
That's
following
good.
this
Me
life-changing
too.
event,
Me too.
my identity felt shaken, and the joy I once found in creating content for 14, it began to fade. Matters related to
Dude, this is what I did not expect this video to be so relatable for me. I feel like we've been through kind of similar stuff, man. I mean, I didn't lose a 15-year relationship, but I did have to leave my home behind, and I had serious mental health problems afterwards. So it's been hard, IRL. It's just been very difficult couple of years.
the game that once evoked strong emotions now left me feeling disconnected. My perception of emotions and my ability to feel deeply about the game seemed to be very off, and I'm no longer inspired to make the videos that I once made. Logging into 14 during that time turned into a reminder of my confused identity. The game, once a comforting refuge, now underscored my lack of direction. I feel guilty at times for immersing myself in a virtual world where it seemed like I should be addressing my real life problems.
Oh my God.
And so the decision to stop making 14 videos was a painful one. It felt like I was suffering a double.
Oh my God, dude. This is... I can't say how much I appreciate Quazii being so open and vulnerable in this video, but it hits hard for me.
Loss. Not only had I ended a 15-year relationship, but I was also faced with the prospect of stepping away from a community that had become a very significant part of my life ever since June of 2021 when I first uploaded the very first MSQ videos of mine on this channel. The thought of disappointing you, the viewers whom I've bonded with and journeyed with me throughout Eorzea, it kind of weighed quite heavily on me. And despite the ongoing conversations in my Discord, engaging with you as though everything was fine, it became increasingly difficult. My emotional compass was off center, and I think that was the deep voice that was telling me to step back and heal. And the healing process was slow, and it needed deep introspection. With the routine of creating 14 content gone in my life, I explored new hobbies and reconnected with my friends and family, of whom I'm really appreciative who provided comfort and understanding. And you might be surprised, or perhaps not, if you compare how I am now to my earlier videos. I've been swimming daily for the past 1 year now. And that
oh my god, are you me? Holy shit. Me and Quazii, like, bro. We have been through such a similar thing with this whole experience. This is insane. Because I'm just thinking, yeah, bro, me too. I also been going through this healing journey, and I'm feeling way better now. And like, I'm just focusing on, you know, learning how to work through emotions in a healthy way, becoming more mindful and appreciating each moment. And I have started swimming as well, dude. Like, I'm swimming all the time. I'm swimming like maybe 4 to 5 times a week. And that is my new hobby and like a passion that I have that I started in the past few months. So now you're telling me that you're also swimming. This is crazy. We have so much in common. Man, we gotta have Quazii on the Buncast.
It's a cornerstone of my recovery. 30 minutes a day without fail, and it's become a ritual to help me
Yeah,
find my
we're
balance.
hydro homies. I'm also doing 30 minutes. Well, not every. I do 4 to 5 times a week. I do take little breaks.
But I digress. This period of
crazy.
stepping away to reflect, it allowed me to think about my relationship with Final Fantasy XIV. This is a game that has been a steady companion.
He said it both being 43. Hey, that's not true. That's not true.
Through the ups and downs of life ever since 2021. Its stories, especially those of Shadowbringers and Endwalker expansions, was a source of inspiration for me. And as I slowly recall those lessons, I have come to slowly realize as well, and perhaps obviously to you, that my identity wasn't solely defined by the content that I produce for this YouTube channel. And that realization is pivotal. It taught me the importance of balance and self-care. So stepping away from 14 video creation marked the end of the chapter, but the beginning of something else. It was a necessary decision for my healing, for me to discover a new path forward. Also, to ensure I was emotionally ready for what lies ahead. But what I've never anticipated was how 14 would continue to inspire me throughout my recovery process without even directly engaging with the game, and that was actually very surprising to me. Let me explain. So during the period I was faced with my deepest challenges, what significantly lifted my spirits was the connection and sense of community I found with 14. This community unknowingly became like an extended family to me. Despite not knowing my personal struggles, the kindness you showed and the bonds we shared through the main MSQs and countless videos on this channel provided me with a sense of belonging and support I desperately needed. A lot of you have reached out to me on DMs on socials asking me if I was alright because I've not been posting at all. And I do apologize if I didn't reply to you personally. It was just a period where I needed to conserve energy for myself. But trust me, I appreciate every single outreach, and that meant the world to me. But this community spirit is especially evident at the Distant World concert for Final Fantasy that I attended in October 2023. That was probably the only Final Fantasy thing that I did in 2023. Meeting many of you in person, all these fellow warriors of light, I was deeply moved. The realization that my content has reached and affected so many people who took the time to say hello or snap a photo with me underscored the beautiful connection we've built over this channel. I felt really moved that random warriors of light would saunter up to me and have a conversation about 14, and I'm really honored to have gotten to know each and every one of you in person.
It just reminds me of being at FanFest, this past one in London, and just I honestly think about it all the time. How many of you came up and said hello to me, and we got to have like a little chat. I tried to talk as long as I could with as many people as I could, and at the time I was like, it's been a long journey of healing, and just I had felt a little bit disconnected from the game, like Quazii here. I think it's just something that's natural when you're going through a lot, and having so many of y'all ask me things like, hey, when are you coming back to Phoenix? We miss you on EU. We want to hang out with you in EU. Let's do stuff together again. And just so much of you telling me that my content had an impact on you, or was like the community in some way that we built was a refuge for you. It made me so happy, and it reminded me of one of the major things that always kept me connected to FFXIV, and it's you guys. It's this bond that we have, and sometimes FF14 can just be a medium for that. It can just be a place to hang out, and that's the thing that I've always loved about it. It's like another home, and I definitely have leaned on it quite a bit during this time when I felt like I didn't have anywhere to go after leaving.
Demi 9231 says we appreciate you too, Zep, for making our days better with your streams. You are a wonderful person.
Oh, DB, thank you so much for that. It's very kind. But y'all were the ones who make my days better. I should be the one thanking you. I can't tell you how many times that I've started a stream and I felt like shit before I started it, and then just from the sitting in stream starting soon and seeing people gather and excited to watch the stream just immediately always never fails to make me feel better, and just the time that we have is so important to me. Anyway, I'm rambling because this video is hitting me really hard, because Quazii and we might have gone through different kinds of hardship in this period of time that has been Endwalker, but we have, as content creators, we've ended up facing kind of the same dilemmas and issues. When Quazii, like me, we're both people who, when it comes to FFXIV content, pour our whole heart and soul into it. And when I felt like I wasn't at my best, I was really hesitant to make content because I didn't want to, I didn't feel like myself, right? And so it was very difficult for a while.
I had kept my personal struggles private, sharing them with only a few people in my Discord. The only exception to that was probably Arthur's over dinner alongside my static members from the Ultimate Weapon. Yet finding solace amongst fellow warriors of light, discussing our reflections on the Fan Festival for Dawntrail and sharing our hopes for Dawntrail kinda uplifted me. It reminded me of the privileged position I hold, having forged those connections through simply talking about a game I love, and there's just no way I could give that up. So gradually I began to reintegrate into the game. It all started very abruptly. It was during a period of time where I haven't been in touch with anything related to Final Fantasy XIV except the concert and the dinner I had with my static group. I was driving in the car at night, and for some random reason, out of all the songs on my randomized Spotify playlist, To The Edge started playing, and my connection to the song, To The Edge, runs deep. Longtime viewers will remember I lost my left eye to cancer as a child and I'm wearing a glass eye, and Soken too composed To The Edge while battling cancer. And despite his personal and physical challenges he faced, Soken's dedication to his art created a piece that not only heightened the 5.3 battle, but it also became a source of hope and inspiration for many, including myself. And that song sparked off something in me that night that I can't really find the words to describe. But I can describe what happened next though. That night, I went home.
I actually didn't know that about Quazii. Yeah, I actually didn't know that he battled cancer and lost his eye because of it. That's insane. Holy shit. I didn't know that. And so it makes sense why that song To The Edge would, like, it's a beautiful song, even if you don't have that, you know, background connecting it to the background that happened with Soken at the time. But yeah, what can I even say? The fact that Soken, I remember Soken said that all that he really cared about was making the Warriors of Light happy and having them enjoy the song. Like, that's what we're talking about when we say that the game is kind of more than a sum of its parts. It's really different than the other games because we have this connection to the dev team too that pours their whole heart and soul into the creation of the game. And so it's just different. I don't know of any other game like this where the line between it being a passion and work is blurred so much for so many of the content creators and also for the devs themselves.
I listened to my 14 playlist that I've curated at the end of Endwalker. Return to Oblivion, A Long Fall, Rise with Hearts Alive, Flow, and Answers, they played on repeat for the subsequent week, and they reminded me of the pivotal moments in the storyline, serving as a beacon of hope during these dark times. Their melodies echo the message of Endwalker, that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, there is always light if you want to look for it. And so my re-engagement with 14 slowly began with music, leading me to revisit the MSQs for patch 6.5, this time without recording any footage at all. And this is also the first time I've actually played Final Fantasy XIV, the game, without the intention of creating content for this channel, solely focused on personal enjoyment. And as I slowly re-immerse myself in 14, I noticed a shift in my perspective. The game's beautiful landscape, familiar characters, and music provided a sense of direction amidst my personal struggles. Then from the MSQs, I slowly encroached into doing random seasonal events, to personal achievements like acquiring my first in-game house. A shout out to Ludmi, Gratin, and Koba, my mods, for helping me get the house in 14. I've been playing this game for a few years now, but I've always been a homeless potato on the street of Uda. But each small achievement reminded me that progress is still progress, no matter how small. And participating in the 14 live letter streams was then the next phase of my recovery. Watching the FanFest keynotes, the only content I felt capable of covering due to its factual nature, that really brought me joy. It was evident how passionate Yoshi P and his team are about the community and the game, and engaging with other players online during these streams really lifted my spirits, and it reinforced that sense of community and belonging that I've missed. 14 as a game didn't alter the realities of my situation, but it provided a space where I could rebuild my confidence and find joy. It taught me the value of the community, the importance of having an anchor, and the resilience of the human spirit. This challenging period highlighted how a game could impact my life in unexpected ways, and 14 became more than an escape. It was a source of comfort and strength during the darker days. 14 offered a space to reflect, to grow, to find my way back to a sense of self, and the journey wasn't easy, but today, I stand stronger, more confident in my ability and in my life's direction, and I'm very sure of who I am. And
so
these are
glad
lessons
to
I'll
hear
carry forward into the future. And so, what's next? Just like Michael...
Wow. Like, I know so many people that can say something similar about how the game just... It ended up being a refuge for them and a space where they could just relax, chill out, and reflect on what really matters. So many of the game's stories are about hope. I think if you really had to distill it down into one concept, one idea that FFXIV is about, it is about hope. That's what it's always been about. It's about hope whenever it seems like there is none. When it seems like there's no way forward, there is a way forward. There can be a way forward if you believe in the power of friendship. I say that as a joke, but I'm serious, dude. It's true. That's what Final Fantasy has always been about. Not just FFXIV. Unironically, just reach out to your friends, reach out to people that care about you, reach out to your fellow warriors of light, your fellow scions. I know it's corny, but you know I'm right. That's how we make a way forward. That's the franchise. It's such an important message whenever you're going through some shit, to be able to be reminded of that in a way that is also a distraction. Just like stop worrying about all that stuff for a little while and immerse yourself.
Jordan famously said,
I'm so happy to hear he's doing better. Damn.
His return to basketball and a simple facts message. I'm back. And I'm saying those words
Yay!
as we stand on the brink of exploring a new Dawn Trail expansion this summer.
Yay! He said he's back. Man, what a great thing. Because the first half of the video, I'm like, oh no, is this why he's not going to post anymore? Oh no. But he's back. Everything's better now. Yay!
Sense of anticipation reminded me a lot of the first real expansion launch I was part of, which was Endwalker. And as someone who truly came into 14 during the Shadowbringers era and whose life has mirrored the epic highs and lows of the 14 narrative in the past few years, the upcoming expansion does feel like a beacon of new beginnings, which mirrors my own personal journey. Venturing into unexplored territories, meeting new characters, unwrapping new layers of story feels like standing on the edge of a new adventure, going into the unknown. And after taking more than a year's break from this channel, I returned sharper and more eager than ever to dive back into the world of Eorzea with you. Moving forward, there's 2 major updates I'm excited to share with you.
So I think that a lot of FFXIV content creators also have gone through a pretty rough patch as well in the wake of the Shadowbringers turbo hype about the game. Because if you're a person who has invested a lot of your livelihood into the game, things were popping off in Shadowbringers. Like, everybody was fucking playing Final Fantasy XIV. It was a huge fucking deal because WoW was in the shitter at the time. So nobody really wanted to play WoW. The COVID was going on, so everybody had a ton of free time and are looking for an MMO that they can spend hundreds of hours in to spend all that time in. And at the same time, we had lots of big streamers come over to the game. So it was just insane. It was a crazy time for Final Fantasy XIV, but that was never going to be like, it was COVID. It was never going to be a long-term thing. And I think we all knew that to an extent. So whenever the things started to kind of cool down, people had to go back to work. People, WoW started to get better. Other games are coming out. Lots of really good games that came out in the past year. It's taken a lot of more people's time. And it's just, people started to disperse more. And we're starting to see kind of more back to what I would consider a normal pre-Shadowbringers level of hype for the game, especially in a slow patch. But for the FFXIV creators who were pretty invested in the game as a main source of income and livelihood during that time, that has been another layer of difficulty for a lot of us, because suddenly the financial situation has changed drastically. And that just psychologically, even if you understand why that's happening in a rational way, it can be really rough to deal with that, plus any other shit you got going on in your life as well. So it's been a challenge for a lot of us.
Firstly,
yeah, the bubble was always gonna pop.
You can expect regular content from me again on this channel. Actions will speak louder than words, so I let my videos do the talking. I hope you enjoy them. Secondly, and more importantly, my time away has given me a lot of time for reflection, especially regarding the incredible support and inspiration I've received from my peers in the content creation space. Talking to them was energizing, entertaining, and electrifying in terms of a mixture of laughter, inspiration, and pure joy. And some of you might have already guessed it from the social teasers I've been putting out, but I'm starting a weekly podcast, and it will feature the biggest MMO creators out there.
Oh my god,
the first episode kicks off with Arthur's...
You're also starting a podcast. Man, we're so similar. I also started a podcast.
Who was one of the very first few in the 14 community to know about why I was missing. Now, I'm targeting for weekly episodes, and all of these episodes will be unscripted and unhinged. And if my dinners with Arthur's is anything to go by, it will be a fun ride. The subsequent creators on the podcast will all be faces that will be familiar to you if you've been in 14 or the MMORPG space. And this weekly podcast will be posted on a brand new channel called Quazii Unplugged. Fun fact, the name was chosen by my community Discord via a vote. I had nothing to do with it, but I do like it. It's a throwback to the days of MTV Unplugged, where it simply just features famous artists on a live set with a microphone. That's it. The link to this brand new channel is in the description. The very first video of that channel will be published somewhere in the first half of March. Naturally, I'll try and get that to you ASAP. Oh, and by the way, if you're not in my community Discord, it's open to all. Link is in the description. But the more crucial part of this video is also a chance for me to express my thanks to you. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy for Quazii, man. This has been a really beautiful video, because when I always love his videos, and I was so worried that he's about to announce that he's never going to do the FFXIV content again. And then he said that he went through such a difficult time, and I can relate to it so much. But there is a light at the end of this video. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm happy to hear that he's gonna have a good time in the game again. He's looking forward to Dawn Trail, and we got different things going on that he's excited to do. I'm so glad.
Delivering support during my absence, and for all the DMs of concern when I was radio silent. Thank you for giving me the space that I need to find my way back to this point. And I'm excited to be on the same boat with you as we sail into Dawn Trail. A special shout out to my Patreon subscribers whose support through these challenging times has meant the world to me. Your belief in me has been a tremendous source of strength. And so to quote Michael Jordan again, I'm back, and 2024 will be our year.
Yeah! Okay, what a great video. I'm so glad that it ended like that. Oh man, he's definitely been through it too. Here's a link to the video if you want to give it a like and maybe drop Quazii a sub. He's a fantastic creator for FF14. He also does content for other games. I think he's also doing the World of Warcraft content still. He came from World of Warcraft, and I'm pretty sure he's an extremely good player.